Okay guys, here we are on a Sunday afternoon. It is November 6th, and unfortunately hurricane season is not over and not quieting down as well. Let's get right to, of course, our areas of concern. I always like to get this out of the way right off the top, because if you don't want to stick around, you don't have to if you're not included in this area here. We still have a low potential for hurricane preparations needed in the central Bahamas, but it is elevating now, increasing basically from Nassau up through the northwest Bahamas. That's Grand Bahama and the Abacos, as well as the Berry Islands, including Bimini there, and the entire Florida East Coast. The Keys still low, as well as the West Coast now low probabilities, and low probabilities also going up the East Coast. This graphic basically is just what do we think the need for hurricane preparations will be. There's going to be a lot of bad weather with this system. It's going to be covering a pretty big area, but what areas really might have to put up shutters or consider evacuations? Too early to do that yet, but these areas in the orange here, you should be thinking that is a possibility. Now, we're going to kind of break it all down here as we go into a deeper dive. So first off, here's the satellite loop this afternoon, and you can see our system beginning to come a little bit more together. We still have that area of thunderstorms trying to wrap around this upper low here, and the surface low is kind of been under this area of heavier thunderstorms there, and that has basically kind of been working its way up that way and is going to tend to want to wrap around that bigger low. How quickly does the low pressure at the surface get under this upper low? I think that's going to be a factor in terms of how quickly this whole system is going to intensify. There's the water vapor loop, and this is why it is not truly a tropical system, because in a tropical system you would just have one big area of moisture going around in a circle. In this case, we have moisture that's wrapping around a point, as well as dry air that's wrapping into a point. So pretty complex system here. It's not tropical in nature until it gets a warm core. In other words, basically warmer conditions near the center point there, and that may be a day or so away. And it may never become fully tropical. It may be what we call a hybrid or a subtropical system, which is has both tropical and non-tropical characteristics. Why is this distinction important? Because tropical systems have their strongest winds near the center, and non-tropical systems or hybrid systems, the wind field's a little bit more spread out from where that center is. So we typically think of a tropical system having what we call a core, like an eye wall type of feature, or where the strongest winds and the worst the weather is. Non-tropical systems, that's more spread out. There's the visible satellite loop, and it kind of really shows that the surface low, it's over here, it's under those bigger thunderstorms. There is the upper level center of the low, and once again, this is going to be one of these processes that kind of wraps itself in, or as that upper low is moving to the west there, this feature kind of wraps itself up to the north and then northwest and then potentially southwest. And I'll show you why all that's going to take place, because it's really based on the steering currents here. So here's kind of the layout. Weak jet stream dip in the upper Midwest right now, a blocking high that is sitting off to the northeast U.S., and also a blocking high that's going to be building. This is going to be the big player here over the next several days. That's over the southeast U.S., and there is our disturbance right now, 98L. So going forward into time, this one block drops to the south here. This block is building here, so basically that is cutting off any opportunity to go to the north there. That is being shut down by that ridge that is building up to the north. In fact, this becomes so strong here, this blocking high here, that it literally steers our developing low pressure area to the southwest. And you can see that starting to take place. Here we are on Tuesday morning, and then by Wednesday morning, there's that west or west of south motion. Now, how strong this is and how quickly it moves out of the way is going to mean everything for where this goes. If it is a bit weaker, or if it moves out and breaks down more quickly, then it's likely going to be more toward the east central coast of Florida and then up to the north. If this feature is stronger here, then it's likely going to want to steer it more to the southwest and then eventually to the north. Still too early to tell. The models are getting a little bit better agreement, so that's good, but still too early to really call where this is going to go and exactly how strong it's going to be. The overall environment, and especially because it's a subtropical system that's forming, does not favor strong or major hurricanes, but we can't rule out a low-end Category 1 or a very strong and large tropical storm threatening much of the Florida Peninsula. So that's Wednesday morning. Here we go into Thursday morning. And now here comes this big jet stream dip in the western U.S. That's going to tear apart the blocking high here, and that's going to give our low pressure storm system an opportunity to start going north. And in fact, that's what it does, and then starts to get the influence of the jet stream dip there, and that's when it starts to turn more to the northeast. That's the Friday morning time frame. How does this play out in the models? So this is basically a bunch of models here, and this is the European wind field here, and these yellow areas here, that's the expectation, at least in the model here, of tropical storm winds there. So let's go forward into time here. Here we are 8 a.m. on Tuesday, and look at, because of the pressure difference between the low that's over here with our developing system and higher pressure up here to the north, very strong onshore flow here, east-northeast winds, and really blowing hard. So potentially we could have tropical storm winds, gusts, or tropical storm winds reaching the coast by Tuesday morning. So that doesn't give us a lot of time to get ready here. Tomorrow would be our day really when we have to get things going, especially if you have a boat. You want to have this wrapped up during the day tomorrow, because potentially by Tuesday it's going to be too windy to do anything that involves big lifting or big moving of things outside. Now, I'll show you the GFS here. It's a little bit different. There we go into Wednesday morning, and you can see the center is located right about there according to most of the models here. And once again, it's going to be a big circulation here with a lot of wind all the way up into the southeast U.S. and all that onshore flow is going to be piling the water near the coast as well. The weather is going to be going downhill in terms of storminess. This is the Wednesday evening time frame. Pretty good agreement right now. Most of the models kind of heading towards the Treasure Coast there. Mainly north of far southeast Florida, but it's still too early to tell, because we don't want this to happen where it kind of gets accelerated a little bit farther and then it starts going to the west. That's a possibility, and too early to tell if that's going to be the outcome, that it's going to be here, or does it turn a little bit more to the north and east. That's a possibility too, but lots of possibilities that we're going to have to kind of consider in our planning here. There we are, Thursday afternoon, and then there we are going into Saturday on that kind of that multi-model there. Here's the GFS solution, and this is basically the moisture fields here, and you can see there is the circulation kind of right there, and this is Tuesday evening, and then the expectation here would be that the more persistent squally weather arrives on Tuesday evening according to the GFS. Then there we are Wednesday evening, and then Thursday afternoon, and then lifting out of here Friday. But if this really slows down here, this could be a very significant rain event, flooding event once again, where we don't need it, because we're still dealing with the rainfall flooding from Ian in many cases across central and north Florida. This is the GFS, also the wind field here, and this is a little bit later in the time frame here, with the tropical storm winds arriving later on Tuesday. But the GFS is really the strongest of the models here, showing a core of hurricane winds developing north of the center there. There is Wednesday evening with the stronger part of the storm getting closer to the coast, and then there we are Thursday. Also, it is kind of into central Florida there. Some of the members come into South Florida, so we have to keep that in mind as well. There we are Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, and then on out, potentially threatening the southeast coast as we go on into Saturday. So where do we stand with all this? Well, we're kind of now entering this between 3 and 2 day time frame here, and because this wind field is going to be big, I think we're going to need to really take care of boat preparations tomorrow, because it's just going to be too windy to do things. It's too early to call if it's a shutter event, too early to call if it's an evacuation event. But hopefully by later in the day on Monday, we'll have a better idea on that. And of course, I'll be posting on Twitter at Craig Setzer. It's a pretty simple handle there to find updates there. Now, I am traveling tomorrow morning, so the next update will be tomorrow afternoon on my YouTube page here.